Christian here, and happy Labor Day, everyone. While summer still has till the 22nd of this month, meaning pumpkin spice lovers, fall lovers, Christmas lovers, and everything else, you have till the 22nd of this month. I'm just as guilty too, because even though I'm not a pumpkin spice fan, I love fall foliage, and fall is just my favorite time of the year. So, this past year for my 5th anniversary has definitely been an interesting one, and for my 5th year, I don't think I really could complain. The amount of places I've covered has been amazing. It's almost kind of given me 2019, 2018 vibes. I definitely felt burnt out a few different times this year, especially always on the edit with new 4K video and all that fun stuff. It's been a fun year, and I'm glad for my 5th year I was able to really give all of you guys an insane amount of content. To recap, from the unofficial start of summer, I went out to the Midwest. I went and shot a few static steam locomotives, and then on the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, I shot first gate of 1630. The weekend following, I went and I saw the Norfolk and Western 611 during the Return of an American Icon visit at the Strasburg Railroad, even though I said I was done with Strasburg this year. After all the times I shot it last year. June, I went back to the Reading and Northern, and for once was able to chase something other than Lehigh Gorge for the first time in 2 years, which was fantastic in my books. And that was when I was able to chase the Central Railroad of New Jersey 113 on the Chris Boss benefit excursion. I'm hoping to see 113 again this year. Day afterwards, I saw 425. July held my second and last Norfolk and Western 611 chase this year, and even being able to see 475 alongside her cousin, whatever you want to call it. July also led to me in journey-wise, and as you've seen in a few of my posts, I've gotten a new job. So the job I was at, I started in April of 2016, not that anyone needs to know that, but I started that way before the seeds of our first adventure, which led to the foundation of Action, Set, and Go happened, and all the trips and everything happened under the umbrella of that job. I've now gotten a new job, a better opportunity, and so far I really like my new job, and it has been great so far. At the very end of July and the first 2 days in August, I took a last-minute adventure because I knew it would be the last time this year I'd be able to make it down to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. And in that same lieu, I don't know when I will be able to make it back to my favorite museum, but I'm pretty satisfied with all I've done there. I even was able to make a stop at the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum for the first time, and then we all know in August, we went on the biggest adventure this year. We saw several static steam locomotives in the Midwest. I traveled with myself, Big Banana Railfan Curtis Huey, and GT Railfan Productions. We also made it to the National Museum of Transportation before chasing the Iowa Interstate 6988 for probably which will be the last time I see her before her 1472 date. And as a message, if somehow the Iowa Interstate Railroad sees this, I really hope the rebuild does happen on the 6988, because hands down that will always get me out to Iowa, because that is one of my favorite steam locomotives. So what now? So suppose some of you are still wondering, and I will flat out tell you that I do have a pretty good fall plan. I'm trying to be more realistic because, you know, budget concerns and everything else. And actually within the past year I've moved out on my own. My 30th birthday is coming up. I was one of my grandparents' caretakers for a long time, so that's honest to God why this year I said I was going to splurge a little bit because it was my 5th anniversary video. But I can tell you next year definitely won't be as insane, and obviously now that I don't have as much vacation time as what I had at my other job, because I got to build that back up, I really don't know what next year is going to look like. I have a list, and it's probably going to be shooting some favorites again, trying to explore some new railroads, but it's probably going to be to a lot lesser extent than years prior. But it'll still be a good year because there are lines that I've yet to shoot that I think I should be able to fit in next year, and there are lines that I want to return to and do a better job. But we're not here to talk about next year and all that fun stuff. So what is coming up on my channel for all those wondering? So you obviously got the 5th anniversary special commemorating it, but I'm also having the 5th anniversary chase. I think in some ways I already pretty much gave it out, but there's one chase this fall, and it actually technically starts in summer. Actually, I don't think any part of it this year falls within the fall, so I pretty much just gave it away. I'm actually going to check real quickly. But I'm going to be spending 2 straight weekends. No, this actually is all going to take place in summer. But I'm going to be in the Midwest. That should give you a hint. And I'm going to be going all out with the locomotive that started this all. So if you stay tuned, you're definitely going to be seeing some 765 footage if all goes well. You'll see some 425 this fall as well too. You might be seeing more 765 than what you're kind of expected to. I also have to finish up the summer rail fanning video, which I'm hoping to get to at some point. Actually, I really need to get to that. Hopefully by the time I'm shooting this video, I pretty much got enough to close that video. Over the summer, I actually didn't catch any NS Heritage units this summer, but I caught the Union Pacific 1989 Rio Grande unit twice, and I caught the CSX Spirited Police unit. So, coming up next for the channel, there's going to be some 5th anniversary celebrations. There is going to be the 5th anniversary special. We're going to continue with another 5th anniversary best of. There's also going to be a new video this year that I think will probably shock some of you. I'm looking into actually recording it soon, but I want to wait till I have a little bit more fall foliage for that. I want to actually kind of shoot a little bit of a answer to a mystery that really only someone like myself would care about, but there may be fans of this event. And if it does come to fruition, I think you guys will enjoy it. So over the next few weeks, you can expect to see the videos from the Midwest Adventure. You can expect to see the 6988 videos. Hopefully, if all goes well, there will be the Steam in the Valley video. There might even be a reunion of some sort this fall, and of course 425. And from what it sounds like, we may even be seeing 1309 shortly on the horizon. So as always, I hope everyone had a fun summer. I hope you all stayed safe and healthy. Hopefully no one came into contact with the pandemic that we've been dealing with this past year. But if you have, hopefully you recovered, hopefully you're safe, following the guidelines. That's all I'm going to say on it. I hope you all stay tuned, because I am hoping for some pretty spectacular content from the rest of this year. Christmas train, fall foliage train wise, I just hope you all stay tuned. Anyhow, I'm Christian. Happy Labor Day, everyone. Christian here, and before I ended this video, this was planned. I wanted to real quickly do a video with the screen blacked out as a memorial and tribute to those who died and those who survived the 9/11 terrorist attacks, which happened 20 years ago. So I'd like to take a brief moment of silence for all those. For those who watched my Instagram story the other day, I pretty much reflected and talked about where I was, and I guess I'll include this in this video before officially rolling the end credits. I was in 4th grade when 9/11 happened. I remember that day like it was just yesterday. It was like any other day that school year. That morning we went to gym as normal. I went to resource room, and then I went back up to my 4th grade room classroom. It was around that time. It was around probably close to 10. That is the one thing that is a little hazy. They put my school on lockdown. Now, obviously, I live in New York State, for those who have never picked it up. And we had no idea what was going on. That was my first ever school lockdown. We had a few shelters in place before for injuries in the hallway, and they didn't want a lot of traffic in the hallways, but that was my first ever school lockdown. We were on lockdown for over an hour. I would say probably close to 2 hours when they took us off of lockdown. My uncle had just moved to Washington, D.C. a month beforehand. He was actually in a building right by the Pentagon, very close by, and remembers actually seeing the plane crash into it. Now, while I wasn't at home in the middle of all that chaos, we did not know if my uncle was okay. My grandparents didn't, and my parents didn't. My uncle was okay, and he had to contact a friend of his through instant messenger who lived in California to call back here to let them know that he was okay. My childhood neighbor was also supposed to be on the first flight. He overslept that morning and missed it by about 10 minutes. My grandmother was also a lunch monitor at my elementary school. When we were taken off of lockdown, my grandmother actually made it into the building before lockdown. So she came and found me and left me with this cryptic message. She said, "Hey, your uncle is okay, but you know the two towers in New York City? They fell, planes crashed into them." And I was like, "Grandma, our uncle lives in Washington, D.C. because my grandmother, I figured she got her geography a little bit mixed up." And she said she had to go. The rest of the day, I remember our school had nothing but a positive message. Things went on. No one made any mention about the lockdown. And the other thing is, too, is a few people probably watching this video are like, "Why didn't you try and go on the internet to look it up?" In 2001, the internet wasn't like it is today. Our classroom computers didn't even have internet. So I didn't fully realize what was happening till I got home. The summer prior, I remember watching Pearl Harbor in the movie theaters with my mom. So when I went home, my grandmother and grandfather explained to me what happened, and for the next month and a half, all we did was we watched the news, and they replayed those images over and over and over again. And I will never, ever forget the images of the Twin Towers collapsing, the Pentagon. And I knew then we were at war. And I remember George Bush giving the speech a few days later that the whole world heard you, and I just remember the whole atmosphere around that time. So, as I end this video, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize that it has been 20 years. This upcoming Saturday, while I'm chasing 765, it will have been 20 years since the 9/11 terrorist attacks.